Hello, everyone. Welcome to another podcast. My name is Ben Lister, and welcome to another podcast. And this exclusive-based radio podcast documenting the life and times of all radio stations, from Radio 1 to Radio Caroline, Radio Luxembourg, and all the local stations and all the community stations. But that's enough of that. Loads to come. Loads of guests to come over the next few this series, so let's get on, shall we? Today's guest is my 8th guest. It's the iconic from many different radio stations and a mentor to many. It's the one and only Ian Chambers. Hello, Ian. Welcome along.
Hi, Ben. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What you been up to? What show were you producing when I was talking to you the other night? Last night.
Yeah, I was producing a local football program that we put out on my station, East London Radio. That's live every Thursday night for 2.5 hours, talking about local football teams. And in that time, they only play about 2 songs. So there's a lot of banter goes on. It's a really good show.
Who's your favourite football team?
I'm not really into football. I'm big time into music, but yeah, not so much football. But I'm learning a lot about the local teams here in East London.
What's your favourite music venue to go to in London?
Oh, that'll probably be Union Chapel. It's a beautiful, beautiful place in North London, because it is a church. And then some nights of the week it's a venue, and I've seen some amazing people play there. Yeah, so I really love it. It's just got a great atmosphere.
You're not a fan of
what, the bigger places?
You're not a fan of places like the Royal Albert Hall?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been there loads as well, but these days I like the smaller venues where it's a little bit more intimate. So I'm being in East London, we've got the O2 Arena, but it's just so big. You just sit looking at a screen, rather than really seeing that tiny dot, which is the performer right at the other end of the tent. And Hammersmith Odeon as well is up in there loads, but again, it's a big venue. I like small.
Did you ever go near the old ITV complex on the Thames?
Yeah, I know that. Yep. Yeah,
it's now inside Television Centre, I think.
Yeah, they use the big studio in the old TV centre, and I've been around there as well, over in West London at Shepherd's Bush.
That's good.
Yep.
5 questions about your broadcast career, if that's okay.
Okay, off you go.
Wait, question 8. Sorry, that's good. Okay. If that's okay, keep your answers short.
Will do.
What were you going to say before we start?
Just thank you for having me on. I'm honoured, so thank you.
You're welcome. This will go out later on tonight. Hopefully the YouTube one will go out in a few months eventually, and I'll get this edited down into a radio syndication show for different stations.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Anyway, question 1. Where did you start your broadcast career?
It was way back in the 1970s when I would make radio programs as a kid on cassettes just for the hell of it. And then in the early 80s, I heard about a hospital radio station in London who were looking for volunteers. And that's where I started, 1983, in Dulwich in South London.
Brilliant. Question 2, who were your early influences and inspirations in your radio career when you were starting out?
Right, probably what I was listening to. So when very young, it would be Radio 1, listening to the likes of Johnny Walker, Tony Blackburn, people like that. And then when Capital Radio came along in London, it was this amazing new fun radio station. And so I loved hearing Kenny Everett, Roger Scott, Nicky Horn, Graham Dean, people like that. There's just a wonderful vibe and excitement to that radio station, which sadly we haven't got anything like that in London anymore.
Brilliant. Question 3, what is your favourite part about the job of being a broadcaster?
I think it's just
Favourite
work.
part, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's about brightening up people's days, about working with amazing people, and really just communicating, getting information out, getting music out. I just love the whole environment of radio.
Brilliant, yeah. And question 4, what is your greatest achievement in the radio sector?
Sure. So about 8 years ago, I had this crazy idea with a friend of setting up a local radio station myself. And it was a crazy idea, but we have built East London Radio. It's been going 8 years now. We've had a fantastic bunch of volunteers working on it, some amazing guests. I've in that time taught over 1,000 children from London. I've helped make their first radio programs, hopefully inspire some of them to get into radio.
Brilliant, yeah. Brilliant. Question 5, what does radio mean to you?
Oh, that's a big question. I think radio's even now, and I think radio isn't very well at the moment. It needs perking up a bit. But I think it's still something that everyone can relate to. It's something you can just have on in the background. I think it's about meeting people, about helping people get their voice out. That's very much what our community station's all about. So yeah, that's what it's about.
Brilliant. And now we'll move on to question 6. What song reminds you of the radio?
Oh, that's impossible. I know plenty of songs about radio, but maybe choose the first song I ever played on my own show. It was Hospital Radio. It was 1983. It was Rod Stewart and Tonight I'm Yours. Quite a cliche song, but that just reminds me. Every time I hear it, I remember my very first show, way back when.
One of my favourite songs is Prince, Most Beautiful Girl in the World.
Yeah, it's a great song. Prince is still really popular. Still have lots of people asked to hear him on the radio.
What was the last Prince song you played on your station?
Probably Little Red Corvette.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a good catchy radio song, that one.
Question 7, how do you think your radio, in your opinion, is adapting to COVID times?
Our volunteers have been absolutely amazing because everyone has continued, but volunteering from their own homes, connecting into the studio that's now at my house, from where we've streamed East London Radio for 18 months now. So I really love how everyone has just kept going, doing it from home, and I think we've adapted really well using Skype, Zoom, like this is on, clean feed, and really just we're doing the same thing as the BBC do. They have technical issues, we have technical issues. It's very much a level playing field.
Brilliant. My last question on the list is, what advice would you give to young aspiring broadcasters who are at the bottom of the ladder and starting their career?
I get asked this. As I mentioned, I've trained a load of children, school children, 10-year-olds, in radio, helped them make their first radio programs. And they always ask me, do you make lots of money? And I'm like, no, you won't become a millionaire doing radio. It's easier than ever now to start recording yourself, even if it's just on a phone, if it's making a podcast, just do it. So my advice would be, you're not going to become a millionaire, but you can have a lot of fun. It will help your confidence in loads of ways, and just get down to your local hospital radio station or community radio station. They're always looking for volunteers, and it's the way to start. Start at the bottom as a volunteer and just go with it and enjoy it.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you
Okay.
for joining us, Ian.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Love talking radio.
Do join me again soon. But for now, please give it up for my special guest, Mr. Ian Chambers. Thank you very much for watching and listening. This will be available on my website, wix.com, and on my YouTube channel in the video form. And there's a radio syndication on a station near you, or maybe another station with podcasts on. But for now, thank you very much for watching and listening. More content coming soon. But for now, that's a wrap.